In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make this animated fractal glass effect using Framer in just a few easy steps. So let's jump in. So I've created a new project and I'm just going to start by resizing my page to 1440 by 810, which is a 16:9 ratio and a nice size to work with. And I'm just going to change the fill to black. Cool. Then hit F on your keyboard and holding Shift, we're going to draw out a frame. And I'm just going to change the radius to 500 so that we have a circle. And I'm going to make that circle purple and make it a linear gradient. Cool, so the next step is to create our glass component. So in the left hand panel, go to Assets, and we're going to go down to Components and create a new component, which I'm going to call Glass. And press Create. And so it doesn't matter what size our page is here, as we're going to resize it later. So we're just going to give this page a fill, and we're going to make that a gradient fill with 3 stops, and the third stop a little bit more to the right hand side. And I'm going to make that second stop black with a 10% opacity. And the 2 end stops are going to be white, and again with a 10% opacity. And so repeat the same step for the first one. Cool, and then we just want to rotate this gradient so it's going from left to right. So you can just hover over the end here, and then we can just rotate it 90 degrees. Cool, and so after that we're going to create a new style, blending, and we're going to make the blending set to overlay. And to give it that background blur, so blurring that shape and creating that glass effect, we need to create another style. This time we go to Filters and select Background Blur. And so for the background blur, you can choose an amount here. I'm going to have mine set to around 30. It does recommend to not go over around 10 to not affect your page performance. But for this example, I'm just going to use 30. And so next, I want to give it a frosted glass look, so we need to add a little bit of texture. So again, click F on your keyboard, and we're going to draw out a frame. And we just want our frame to be the same size as our page. And I'm going to change the fill to an image, and the type set to tile. And then next to presets, we're just going to select the first one here, which is this grain effect. And so I'm going to change the opacity down to 0.2, and we're going to give this some blending as well, and we're going to have the blending again set to overlay. Cool, and so that is our glass component. So we can navigate back to Home, and then if we go to Assets and under Components, you should now see this new glass component. So we can just drag this in. And if we hover this over our shape, we can see we're getting this cool glass distortion effect. And so the next step, we're going to make our fractal glass. So I'm going to resize our glass component to be the same height as our page, and I might make it even a little bit thinner. And if we go to Layers, I'm going to right click and we're going to duplicate this layer. And then holding Shift, select both of your glass layers, right click, and we're going to Add Stack. Now, we're going to change the size of our stack to fit content, and make sure the direction is set to horizontal, and remove the gap. So set it to 0. So we're going to duplicate these some more. So the shortcut key is Command D on Apple. So I'm just going to duplicate it maybe 10 or so times. And if we select our shape, we now have this fractal glass effect. And so the next step, we're going to create an animation. And so with my shape here, I'm just going to scale it up so it's a little bit bigger and position it where you want. And with your shape selected, we're going to give it an animation. So go across to effects and we're going to give it a scroll animation. And so if we go down and click on the enter effect, and we're going to change the transition here, and we want it set to ease. And the time I'm going to set to around 4 seconds. And then go back, opacity set to 0, and we're also going to change the offset. So we're going to go negatives, and I'm basically going to take it all the way down until our shape is pretty much off the page. So somewhere around there. So basically it's going to go from 0 opacity over here and animate to this position here. So we can test this by pressing play. And just like that, we've created this cool fractal glass animation. So this tutorial was inspired by a comment on one of my videos. So if you have any other ideas for future tutorials, then leave me a comment below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more design content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.